morning, everyone. Welcome to the brand new podcast series. This is Saroz, and you're hearing KTM Popsat. And today we have a very special guest, Johanna Bruckner, coming from Switzerland, and she's coming here in Nepal for 3 months for Artist in Residence program supported by Swiss Arts Council Pro Helvetia. So let's welcome her on the show without any ado. Hi, Johanna. How are you doing? Welcome to the show.
Hello. Thanks for inviting me.
How was your morning today?
My morning was very good. I went to Chiksmail today for the first time. It's an area I have not been yet. And it was very exciting to see a different part from Kathmandu or Patan, because now I stay in Patan and I like it very much. And now I have a different experience of what else exists here. And I went to a coffee place and I met a friend. So we had coffee together and it was a very good start of the day. And it was a very nice quiet inner courtyard, and had a book with me, as I always have, and I was reading something, and actually I was very desperate in this coffee place.
All right, so Johanna, talking about this podcast series, this is very informal, kind of casual conversations around, we generally talk about art and culture, creativity, innovation, and whatnot. So today I think we're gonna, you must have spoken a lot about your work, but we'll talk about your work as well, you as a person, but let's talk about your struggle. How about that?
Struggle. I think it's always something when an artist comes to a residency, especially that's quite abroad, that's more far away than I'm used to go. So it's my first time in South Asia, and now I've been here for 2 months, and I have to say I like it very much. I settled, but also settling takes time. And this time is a very interesting process. The fact of settling here actually in a place where culture is different than you have been socialized in. And so I've been traveling quite a lot here because I wanted to see other places. I wanted to escape Kathmandu as well for a bit, because also quite massive and actually quite a lot of energy. And when I arrived, I thought I would also need to go to the nature and to calm down for a moment. And this really happened. And I could actually be with the nature for a bit. So to observe the nature, to be with the nature, to feel actually how much connected I am to the nature, and especially when I'm somewhere for a longer time, I feel like how close we live actually to the nature and how it influences us.
I'm going to talk about your further kind of journey to your research and connected to your work, but let's talk more about yourself as a person. This is your first time in South Asian country, coming from Western society. How do you find yourself, in a way, like people, lifestyle, food, culture, all this thing, coming from completely different cultural background?
So it's quite complex because first of all, I'm a very experienced traveler. So this is what I've been doing for the past 5 years. So actually I don't have a place called home, even though I have an apartment in Switzerland, it's sublet. But during the past 5 years, I've more or less only been on residencies, and I have made myself, I learned a lifestyle that I adapt very easily to a place. So I feel home very easily.
Right.
And I thought actually settling here would be much more difficult than it has been in the beginning. So I felt like still very soon I felt like, okay, I can make home here, I can work, I can do my thing. It's just a few things that I had to figure out in the beginning. But then I felt like, and it's very important where I live, where I work. As soon as the 4 walls that I live in, that if they are right, I feel like that's the place where I can do things.
Yeah. So it's very interesting to hear, as you're saying, like wherever you go, you make your home there. Very ideal, actually, to kind of think in current, like, global scenario. I think we have this kind of belonging to the place where we born and kind of work and all this thing. But us as an artist, or traveler, having this sort of idea and mindset is very, I think, intuitive and I think very resonating. So I'm glad to hear that. Now, like, let's little talk about your work and process. Most of the time your work deals with kind of multimedia, video installation, multi-channel projection and stuff like that. And you're using human body and digital kind of tool to kind of incorporate idea. Could you briefly explain about the theme of the work and how it kind of connect with the current, social values, belief?
Yeah. So I came here, I wrote the concept for my residency here, and of course I didn't have a clue about what the culture is, what the context here is. It's far away, I can only read about things. And I came here and I have different feelings of that, what I read, so because I experienced on hand. And now, as I said, I spent a lot of time in the nature. It has been interesting for me how people are connected to nature, especially here. So how they, like a lot of people live from what grows in nature, like in an agricultural sense, but also in the way that kind of we live with it. So we're in solidarity, and I think we have to be that. And I think we need this even more in the future in the terms of climate crisis and the fact that we're no longer like caught in these kind of systems that have centuries have explained our cultural context and the way we are socialized in. So I think we have to go out of certain imaginations or certain thinking structures of what living means and also what living together means. So I think we can much more learn actually from the way how we can live together with nature, how it can learn us, how it can teach us, and also what it means in terms of technological advancement. So a lot can be learned from nature, but also we need to give back to nature.
To the nature.
Yeah.
Oh, great. Johanna, again, just trying to understand your work better, the visual appearance or visual aspects of it. So could you briefly talk about the materialism, of your work? When you make your work, what are the things are involved in there? And when it comes to the audience, how do they kind of perceive it?
So I work in a multidisciplinary way. When it comes to video work, I work with as collages. So I overlap in technical means. So I do this very experimentally in the programs, in the editing programs. And I like to create something, a kind of experimental way of perceiving the world, like beyond that way that we have learned to perceive it, so to say. So to escape thinking structures, to escape imaginations we have been positioned in, and to think beyond it. I think it's very important to do this through aesthetics, because now, like cultural meanings, socialization, they give us something, the way through which we are raised in and the culture we're raised in. But through aesthetics aesthetics is a tool that can learn us to allow to think differently than what we have learned. Mm-hmm. And so that's why I like to challenge documentary ways, for example, of seeing the world. So I like to challenge of how we make sense of the world, and so that's why I work in an abstract way. Mm-hmm. And the concepts, the research that I bring into the work deals a lot again with environment, ecology, body, social context, and how this actually is entangled and we're positioned in. So I like to make people aware that they jump beyond their thinking structures.
Well, yes, you're also talking about, in a way, with your work, posthumanism. You're also talking about feminism and queer theory, sort of a thing. So how does all these things come in, and can you explain a little bit?
Yeah. So what I do with the images is to sort of let them explode from inside. So like my images are kind of like quantum physics that ruptures against itself. So the images explode against themselves. So like cultural context explode against themselves, rupture, and sort of delegitimize themselves. So I de-link existing concepts and relink certain understandings and beliefs. And for me, there's a kind of queerness that I observe. So because queerness means for me to think beyond binary structures. So when I read a lot of quantum physics, I read science, but I reoccupy it because there's I think we need to question. It's important to understand the world, like what scientists try to tell us, but I also try to question it. I'm skeptical and delegitimize it. Of course, we need science, but it's often very biased. It's made from a certain angle. So I try to bring people different beliefs to what science tells us or what is not represented, for example, in media. And so within quantum physics, I can find a certain queerness in how quantum physics approaches the world, and that's for me very interesting.
Yeah, great. Thank you, Johanna. This was all very nice talking to you, and we are at the end of the podcast. Do you think there is anything that I missed to ask you and you wanted to talk about?
I think that's fine. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Do you have any question for me?
No, not at the moment. We're doing this outside of the beer.
Yeah. All right. So yes, thank you very much. I hope you're having great time here in Nepal, and you're going to have another 2 weeks, I suppose. So thank you so much. We would like to wish you all the best with your artistic journey. Thank you. Okay, so thank you so much. But before I say goodbye, I would like to request you to kindly subscribe our channel. We are based on different podcast platforms. So please do go check it out and see what you like, what you feel comfortable listening us or watching us. You could definitely choose the best platform you like. Thank you so much for listening us. See you next time. Bye-bye.